My name is Vicky, and I work at the H3Africa Coordinating Centre, and I'm based in Cape Town. So I split my time between the Coordinating Centre and H3 Barnet. So I would like to talk about a project that we've been working on for the past, I think, 1 year or so. And this is really a project that's supported within H3Africa by the Community Engagement Working Group, which Paulina leads, and the Education Coordinated Working Group. I must say, I really want to just say thank you to Wellcome Trust, because they've really helped this project grow and have given feedback, especially Abraham and Helen and Catherine, who've really given advice throughout the process. So this project is led by a small task force, and this task force then reports back to the two working group. And the link is on the site if anyone wants to go onto it. And these are the people that are involved. And I just want to add that I've got 2 teachers who approached, who really want to join the task force, and a genetic counselor as well. So we're really excited about having a genetic counselor on board. So just a bit of background, and I won't say much because most of it we said in the first presentation. So a lot of the community engagement activities that are happening within H3Africa are happening in project silos, and they have to community engagement projects. And so this one is one of the smart and wise to do projects. And it really has been an exciting, experience for the task force. And one of the main problems that we've got is that these projects that are doing community engagement, they start from scratch, teaching people literacy, telling them what genomics research is all about. So we want to step back and actually teach or engage with the public on these issues. And we decided to go for a mobile app or a web platform, because face-to-face public engagements are very effective, but they've got their challenges. They're time-consuming, labor-intensive, very costly, and there's sometimes limited uptake, both on the researcher side and on the population side. So once we had this concept, the big question was, yes, we want there to be engagement between researchers, and we defined our target population to be the youth in South Africa, specifically high school learners. But for this engagement to occur within a web platform or mobile platform, what activities are we going to include on this platform? What content are we going to include? So what we did was to actually do some research, do a lot of engagement with different stakeholders to check what activities or what little add-ons can we add onto the platform. We reviewed existing platforms, and I must say the I'm a Scientist platform was a really a huge source of information, and we did liaise with Alun Davis from Kilifi, and who was introduced to us by Docus, and we also looked at Unlocking Genomes, which is an NIH platform. We also looked at adapting some face-to-face activities which have been known to be effective in public engagement or training. We also did very informal needs assessment among the researchers, and some of them, Piers has already highlighted, challenges in translating genomic terms. How do we communicate these really complex terms in an African context? We also looked at the learners. What are their needs in terms of genomics and research? Key stakeholders, as I mentioned, Wellcome Trust, we attended conferences and workshops, and one of the things that we realized we needed to do was to co-design our platform with researchers and learners, and that's why it has taken a few more months than we had anticipated. And so, in brief, I just put a summary of what the platform has. It has got a career spotlight where we've got profiles of researchers, and during our piloting or co-design, there are lots of aspects that we needed to include. For example, some of the learners really wanted to know the background of these people. What did their parents do? Can I, someone who's got parents who don't work and I stay in a squatter camp, can I still be a researcher? Please, can you include that information in your profiles? So it has been really a learning curve for us, trying to get a sense of what would motivate the learners and what would entice them into these careers. We've got a live chat session similar to the one in I'm a Scientist. We've got a quiz section where people can take quiz questions, and the correct answers are then fed back to them when they finish the quiz. We've got training opportunities, which was a great need that came from the learners, that there are so many sources of information out there. How can I get training opportunities that are relevant to this field if I want to take this forward? We also have a knowledge corner. We've realized there are lots of good videos and good media, sources out there. So we decided we're going to use all the freely available media sources and put them on this platform around a certain theme, and we change this theme on a regular basis. For now, because it has been piloting, we've just decided we would change it every month and then see how that goes. If demand increases and we get more funding, then maybe the changing of themes and content will be at a regular basis. So we've had lots of input from different sources of content that we needed. The video at the moment that's there is from the NIH, Unlocking Genomes, which is a fantastic short clip about 7 minutes long. We also have the National Institute of Libraries in the US who've generously agreed that we can use some of their sources. And we also have a translation corner based on the challenges that the researchers have been experiencing of translating content. And I think one of the things that also drove us to have Translation Corner and a Have Your Say Corner is because as scientists, we really want to push our knowledge to the people. But this, we thought, would be a good platform for us to actually get information back from the people so that it's really a two-way engagement in addition to this chat session. So the Translation Corner, we give one word, which has been really emphasized across the platform for that particular theme. For example, the word gene, and then we ask the learners to translate it into one of their local languages or to simplify it into very simple English. And one of the phrases we say is, imagine you're translating this or explaining this concept to your grandmother or grandparents. We also have a Have Your Say section where we are trying to probe the current thoughts or perceptions, cultural hindrances towards genetics, and we ask a question that has to do with ethical concerns so that we just get a feel of what people think about certain issues and which can help actually help the researchers plan their research better in the future. We have a lot of our groups who are interested in us sharing this information with them on a monthly basis once we have launched the project. And in terms of content, this was quite interesting. I mean, we sat down, we saw the H3Africa project, and we thought, great, we will use this. But what we noticed, and we also looked at the other platform, but what we actually noticed is that the more we looked at this and the more we piloted and engaged with the high school learners and the researchers, is that we couldn't find a framework that we could use to actually create our content, or at least a very explicit curriculum or guideline. So we kind of went with the three because we couldn't really separate. Although our main focus is on careers, we realized we cannot separate the health concepts or health aspect. Why are people doing those careers? What's the relevance of their research? And a lot of learners and teachers from really disadvantaged areas, which was pointed out this morning, that sometimes you want to have a science engagement activity, but health is a major concern. So a lot of people want to know about the health. And also research. Do people really understand what a consent form is? Do they understand their rights? Do they understand that they can withdraw anytime, the benefits? So those things ended up being embedded in the platform because we saw these three themes kept coming up, even though we were targeting careers. And of course, the ethical and legal social issues and the literacy thing is embedded in the entire platform. So there's a question mark there because we would like to make this curriculum a bit more explicit, and we are still trying to find a framework that we can fit it in. So in brief, we've also gone through thinking around what sort of evaluations we want to do. How do we assess the objectives that we set across? So we decided that throughout the project, we're going to do formative evaluation to continually improve the project, and summative to assess whether we are actually making an impact. Are we changing people's knowledge? Are the intentions to take up careers in genomics really changing? I just put a summary of some of the activities we've done. We've really engaged a lot with the stakeholders, co-designing, and one of the things we would love to do in terms of formative evaluation is formal focus groups where we actually do some research around that. And we've got an online feedback form that's live and active on the website, so anyone can actually just give us feedback, and we've got quite a number of feedback just from the live feedback form. And in terms of summative, when someone, the great thing about working with online platforms is that you can have the evaluation or monitoring systems embedded within the activities that happen. For example, the quiz section, we can actually get information on the knowledge, levels of the people at a specific time. But one of the things we tried to do was during the registration, because we restrict access to the platform to people who are registered on it, and during registration, people answer very brief questions. And the interesting thing is when we're piloting, most of the learners were actually going to Google so that they get the right answer. So we had to put something in red there to say, please don't Google and ask anyone, just answer as best you can. And so we take a very brief baseline questions of knowledge, attitudes, and practices or intentions at the beginning, both for the researchers and the learners. And we hope that after 6 months of the learners and the researchers using the platform, we will do this brief assessment again, and then after a year. But in addition to that, we realize that there is also a need for more formal studies around this. Are we making any impact? And that is a discussion I'm currently having with some of the genetic counselor students who are really keen to take up small projects. So we need to kind of strategize that. But we've also submitted the platform for ethical approval so that any information that we collect from here is collected in an ethical manner and can be used for future research. So just to highlight some of the complexities that we've had to deal with, we thought this was going to be short, everyone would just jump on board, but I'm glad to know that, and quite encouraged to know that people are facing the same challenges, so it'd be fantastic to share ideas and lessons learned with the other groups. So most of the teachers were not comfortable with genetics and genomics concepts at all. There was an indication of just fear of not knowing if the students ask me a question, if I'm facilitating this session, and some cultural issues also came up that, I'm talking about things that are sacred. And when I was chatting to some of the teachers, would you like to take this up? Because right now we haven't fully blown out advertised it because we wanted to iron out all these implementation issues. DNA is mainly associated with crime and paternity tests in Africa. So when I talked about genomics, I was like, okay, but that's only a small part of genomics and genetics. But for those teachers, it was DNA, oh, you mean the paternity and crime thing. So they were not willing to engage with that. And as mentioned earlier, access to healthcare takes priority. Is there any way that we can embed some health messaging into this platform? And this is what we've tried to do. And also highlight in the researcher profiles utility of their research for health in the future. One of the things which also came up with challenges was that senior researchers were very reluctant to get on board with this. And we tried that so many times and ended up just realizing that was a closed door. And now we've started engaging with organizations that are made up of younger researchers who are really motivated and see the value of engagement. And we hope that that will filter bottom up. And another thing is permissions and approvals to get into the school system. And one big question that came up was, what is in it for me right now? When we went to do some piloting in some of the schools, we gave away pens, and that was a big hit. And they were like, please, can you give us some more things? The researchers as well, they're assessed on whether they publish. It's publish or perish, right? So what would the community engagement or the public engagement aspect, how would that assist my career? Can you maybe give me money to attend a SciFest or a conference? So these are the things that we're still thinking about, and that's why they're in red. There are lots of opportunities that have also come up. A lot of learners were asking me, can I do some job shadowing with some of these researchers? And so we've decided, it's not up yet, we've decided that maybe we can have a button. If a learner really likes or wants to do a job shadowing experience with a certain researcher, they can click a button and they can apply directly to that researcher if they're interested, and they can organize their own thing. The South African Agents of Sciences and Technology has also expressed interest and is interested in actually helping us publicize it and get it into the schools, and they've got ideas of how we can get the teachers on board in a more sustainable way. Other centers or community engagements, and the young people or young associations, councils that we've been working on. So I just wanted to show some pictures. We tested a lot of things. Podcasts, those were a hit with the teachers, but not with the high school learners. So I think we'll store those for the adult population. And just a picture of some of the learners and how excited they were to be actually engaging with a live researcher and just engaging, learning about DNA and so on. Yeah, so thank you very much. That's about it.